Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, kicking off a $400,000 guaranteed late pick five wager with race number 10 at Gulfstream Park on Saturday. Let's throw up the field for the Grade 3 Orchid. Fillies and mares going 3 turns over the Gulfstream Park turf course. They'll be traveling a mile and 3/8. And Mike, from a pace situation, I guess it's a little bit curious. The 6 Mean Mary, the last time we saw her, just was able to crawl on the easiest of early leads, and she, not surprisingly, then sprinted on home. She had everything left in the tank. There doesn't appear to be a ton of other speed in here. Maybe the 8 Bow Bell as we take a look at the Timeform US pace projector. But I would think if I'm a jock on any one of these other horses, I just can't afford to let Mean Mary get away again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we'll see her get as loose as she did last time, Dan, but, once again, she lands in a very advantageous situation here. There is not a lot of pace in this race. And not only could she get loose again, but she also happens to have a good amount of talent, Dan. And she took advantage last time, but she also really ran.
No, she is a very talented horse, well-bred, a lot of upside potential, good connections, and the main speed. She's probably the horse to beat in this race. Beale Street is the number 1. She'll be coming from the back of the pack, as you see on the Timeform US pace projector. She got a confidence booster last time out, winning a non-winners of one other than for Michael Matz. She's probably going to need a little bit of a trip. For most of her career, she has been a one-run closer. She was a little bit closer to the pace last time out, not much.
Yeah, I agree. I liked her race last time. I actually feel like she's a little underrated, Dan. Her running style really works against her in here. She's going to have an awful lot to do in the stretch as she faces better horses this time. This filly's not too bad. Maybe Saturday's not the day for her, but I would keep an eye on her down the road.
I want to use the 2 Kelsey's Cross somewhere. We've been talking about her potential, and maybe she hasn't lived up to it this year, but I think she's been compromised by circumstance. In the La Prevoyante, her first start of the year, that was a race where Mean Mary walked on the lead, and Kelsey's Cross didn't have a chance. Then 2 starts back, I'm not really sure what that ride was about. They put her right on the front, and she went way too fast against one of the best filly and mare turf horses in the country right now in Starship Jubilee. And then she faced Starship Jubilee last time out in the Hillsborough and wasn't embarrassed. I think this distance is within her scope, and I think she fits very well from a class standpoint.
I agree with all that stuff. I'll try and use her somewhere. She's really hard to get a read on, Dan, because she shows up and runs every time, but I don't know what her best distance is, and I don't even really know what her preferred running style is. I suspect that they'll be off the pace this time, but not too far away, and maybe the trip will work out.
Arisa, the number 3, is a group winner in her native Argentina. She's only raced once in North America. That was at the fairgrounds, and she really didn't do much running that day. Now, she was returning off of a long layoff, but she wasn't bet like she was going to be a factor, and she didn't do much. The blinkers come off. Edgar Prado having a great meet. The veteran takes the mount, but she's going to really have to improve.
Yeah, she is. Her form in her native Argentina, I guess, is okay, but it doesn't, really stand out. And her first start stateside was not a good one. She has a lot to prove in this race.
Perhaps the additional distance will work in her favor. The 4 is quick-witted like Arisa, trained by Nacho Creus. She was 3rd last time in a stakes race at the fairgrounds, and I thought that was a promising enough effort. That was a race that produced 2 next-out winners, the winner coming back to win a stake at the fairgrounds last week with an 88 Beyer speed figure, and that was quick-witted's first race since the summer of 2019, so maybe she can improve. Can she stay closer to the pace? That probably could be the key for her in here.
Yeah, she's going to have to get maybe a better trip. I thought she actually got a pretty good ride from Bravo last time because even though she was far away, she basically followed the winner for a long way in there and just, wasn't quite good enough. I thought she ran fine, Dan. I guess I would have some distance questions with her. I'm not sure if she really wants to go this far.
Gentle Ruler is the most accomplished horse in this race. She is a multiple graded stakes winner. She handles 1.5 miles to 1 3/8 with no issues whatsoever. She has shown the tactical ability to stay close to moderate paces in the past, and she has Beyer speed figures that are very competitive with the rest of this field. She is a very strong contender in here. She is going to have to deal with a layoff. Lots of folks are going to be rooting for Chris Landeros, 0 for 107 at this meet. He's better than that by far.
He's a lot better than that, and he did nothing but give Gentle Ruler good trips for the most part last year. Listen, she had a great campaign last year. Once they finally stretched her out in distance, she really thrived. She went 5 for 6 in these longer distance races and just ran really well every time, Dan. In a lot of ways, and I really respect Mean Mary in this race, especially her speed, but in a lot of ways, Gentle Ruler's the horse to beat.
And look at that workout on March the 16th. Very un-Ian Wilkes-like. 5 pounds, 57 and change on the turf. Quiet Ruler might be a little bit closer to the pace.
Yeah.
And unlike a lot of Wilkes horses, this horse has run well off a several-month layoff in the past. With Keeneland canceling, and you know she makes hay there, this might be the spot for Gentle Ruler. Mean Mary is up next. She is expected to make the lead. She made a very easy one in her first start against Stakes Company last time out, but you have to like the way she sprinted on home in the stretch. Now, the horses coming out of that race have not exactly distinguished themselves, and the favorite in that race, Lady Paname, was coming off something like a year-and-a-half layoff.
Yeah, true enough. Lady Paname was the favorite, and maybe Mean Mary's the favorite this time, Dan. And I don't see why she wouldn't be. There's a lot pointing you in this direction. She looks like she's going to be loose again. She's got a ton of upside. The talent is clearly there. And I would just say, La Provoyante, yes, she had all the best of it. But that's coming through the stretch, what's called full of run in that race last time. She really looked good winning that race.
Capta Creus, the number 7, is still eligible for a non-winners of 2 life. I liked her last time out. I was stunned that she went off at 5-2, considering that she was eligible for a non-winners of 2 life. She did not have a very good trip in that race, but that's kind of been the story of Capta Creus's career. And I wonder if she's just the kind of mare that needs a perfect trip and needs some other things to happen, such as some of the favorites regressing.
Yeah, I would give her the trip excuse last time. She had plenty of early trouble in that race to wind up out of position. So I'm not going to hold that race against her. It's just a question of whether you think her prior races make her a prime contender in here. And I'm not sure that they do.
Bo Bell's the 8, Mike. Coincidence that both of her lifetime wins came over yielding going at Saratoga. Does she not like firm ground as much as she does like a turf course with a little bit of give?
Yeah, she might prefer a little bit of give in the ground. I feel like those 2 wins at Saratoga, I'm sure the yielding ground helped her. I also felt like they were a little circumstantial. It took her forever to finally break through. When she did it, I will give her credit for sort of holding her form. She was never going to win the Flower Bowl. You know, I just thought her Zagora was okay. She really got a perfect trip in that race and just wasn't good enough.
But she could be a key to this race if she shows some fresh speed off the layoff and at least makes Mean Mary work a little bit in the first half mile to 6 furlongs. Get Explicit, the number 9, is up next. I always felt there's a race for Get Explicit, Mike. She was second in the Weah last year. I thought she had a pretty nice trip all in all, and getting beat by Fool's Gold. It probably wasn't the greatest Weah in the world. I thought she had to go very wide, though, in the Glens Falls. I think that effort is a little bit better than it looks. But you look over Get Explicit's lines, it's been a long time between drinks. She often is a bridesmaid, but she also has a little bit of tactical speed.
Yeah, true enough. I mean, I was, really on her at the end of her 3-year-old year because it just felt like she was really headed the right way. She came back last year as a 4-year-old, and I don't know, Dan, I just didn't really see her take the step forward. She ran some good races, but, just couldn't really find the right spot. I'm not sure that I really like her in these longer races. Maybe she's okay going longer. I wonder if she's just better going shorter, though. And I'm just kind of over her. She hasn't really improved all that much from the end of her 3-year-old campaign.
She pulls in the early portion of her races. It'll be interesting to see if Edgard Zayas can hold her. If not, maybe Get Explicit heats this pace up a little bit with a mid-race bid. L'Australienne is a reach, the number 10. She sat up close to Mean Mary 2 starts back, and Mean Mary just dusted her at 82-1. They turned her all the way back to a mile last time out, and it was an even finish, trying to come from out of it with a wide bid. I just wonder if she classes up with these horses.
Yeah, she just looks like a big price in this race who has very little chance to win.
Overthinking does well at longer distances, running second in the CTT and TOC, going 11 furlongs at Del Mar last summer. She is the kind of mare, however, that is a true one-run closer. She needs a lot of pace, and Gentle Ruler had her number in Kentucky last year.
Yeah, no match for her in those 2 races towards the end of the year. But it did feel like maybe she was tailing off after that trip out to California, where she actually ran really well over this 1 3/8. So there are some things to like for this horse, and she's going to be a price in here.
Mike, I know Elizabeth Way is a lousy post position, but I've been very impressed with both of her races at big prices. Her North American debut, just off of a tiny layoff, was at a distance that might have been a little bit shorter than her best, and she just stormed down the center of the track to win that race. And she showed some versatility. Paco Lopez gave her a great ride in the very one last time out, where she controlled the pace and then dug down deep to win it late. I think from this outside post, in a race without much speed, Paco's just going to break. Maybe she can sit second or third. I think there's some ability here. I'm really not concerned about the distance. She was campaigning and just missed it 1.5 miles over a synthetic surface in Ireland. I think she's got a lot of upside. I would bet her at the third price.
Yeah, I'm using this horse as well. I'm not concerned about the outside post for her because she has shown that she's tactical. She won her first start over here from off the pace, but she mid-moved in that race really early to get close into position. And then last time just sort of got right to the front and was very game to win. I think there's more to come for this horse.
Let's take a look at our top picks for the Grade 3 Orchid. It's a fun race. You've got a couple of up-and-comers, Elizabeth Bay and Mean Mary, and you've got the proven commodity in Gentle Ruler. And that's where Mike's going. He's going with Gentle Ruler, 5, 6, 12, and 2. I'm going to take a shot with Elizabeth Bay, hoping that this post position scares some folks off. But Gentle Ruler, she's just the class master in this race, right?
Yeah, I think she is. You have to lay off to deal with, but it does feel like Mean Mary's probably the favorite this time, and Mean Mary's really going to have to run. If Jenna Rulli comes back off the layoff in form, Mean Mary's really going to have to run to beat her.
We're kicking off a $400,000 guaranteed late pick 5 at Gulfstream on Saturday with this edition of the Grade 3 Orchid. It has an approximate post time race number 10 of 4:17 Eastern. Good luck.